Hello everybody, this is September and I'm checking in on the Hanure server, and this video is going to be about Larceny and some of the other coin purses that drop. Particularly this video I wanted to look at the higher end purses, the Jesters, the Queens, and the Princes. I've got about 5 minutes left on my buffs. I'm out here in Marcella harvesting the Queen's purses, and I'm going to do an hour out here, an hour of Princes, and we already have data on the Jesters, so we'll just use that existing data. Alright, we're coming in on the last minute of the farming, and I wanted to show this to you. There's a couple things that already are in the negative for the Queen's Purse farming. First of all, you have to claim the Ost mana towers to get the mobs that drops the Queen Purses to spawn. So if the West or the Pirate faction takes it and you're East, like I am, then the tower will actually attack you, so you can't farm that area. So you have to make sure that your faction actually takes the Ost Tower for the mobs to be basically farmable by your faction. That could be Pirate or West or East. I'm East, but we happen to have, on the Hanure server currently, we happen to have Calmlands and Marcella. Marcella was amazing. Calmlands sucked. Calmlands was these green men that basically ranged attack you, so it was really difficult to AoE farm them. So after about an hour, given some leeway for me doing this video here, but I got 27 crates, Queen's crates in an hour. Here's the other thing. I'm very biased against these high-level crates because Jesters is just so damn good. The labor cost to open a Queen's crate is 40 labor. So to make that even worthwhile, it almost has to have a 100% drop rate of Mysterious Garden Powder, because that's the most valuable thing that you can find in these. And we know that that's not the case, but we'll open them up later on. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to head out to, I think, Golden Ruins, and do 1 hour of Prince Purse farming. And the one last thing I want to add about Queen's Purse farming is look at all this bullshit. Look at all these Auorian shards that I got. If you've already got a maxed out cloak, or you're not working on a cloak, these things are annoying. You can't sell them. The only thing you can do is drag them out of your inventory and delete them. It's quite annoying, and it really cuts down on farming. If you don't have a lot of bag space, it's going to make the loot stay on the mob, therefore fill up your bag, and once your bag is full, you won't be able to loot the mobs, and then it's going to start creating lag issues with the corpses not disappearing. It's just, these are just a pain in the ass. They don't stack. They're just horrible. So that's another downside of Queen Purse farming. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and we're going to do an hour on the Prince Purses, and then we're going to compare all the drops with an hour of time to the Jester Purses and find out which one is the best to farm if you are doing Larceny farming. Alright, so I've made it to the Golden Ruins, and I am looking at farming the turtles, the golden shell turtles, which are located really close to the camp. This is probably the best known farming spot, so I may have to move if I start getting too much PvP. But we'll go ahead and do an hour here, and I'll bring up the video once. I'll bring the video up once we get about halfway through. Alright, checking back in. This is the half-hour mark of the Prince Purse farming. I have got 15 crates and 94 coin purses and some miscellaneous obsidian mats. I'm going to go ahead and do the next half hour, and then we're going to go ahead and look at the drop rates and the labor to gold ratios. Okay, the buffs are winding down, and that is the end of 1 hour of Prince Purse farming, and what I ended up with was 194 coin purses and 33 crates. I did a little better the second half hour, but I also received 2 of the haunted chests, which I believe are worthless. I'll have to look into that, but I'm not going to count that as anything in this calculation anyway. And then I also received a Metalic Auorian crate. So now I'm going to recall back and get to safety, and then let's take a look at these. Let's take a look at the gold per labor ratio. Okay, so first we're going to look at the, real quick, just look at the labor to silver ratio on the Queen's purses. I'm going to open about 5 of them. So the first one, 72 silver. Labor cost was 14. 62. 64. 72. 68. Okay, so we're going to say about 70 silver per purse at 14 labor. That's with a 30% reduction from my skill level, which is a little over 180k. That's a little over 5 silver per labor point, which is not horrible. That, I mean, that's like the minimum you should get for any labor that you spend. So I guess those are okay. But I'm not going to open those here. So let's go ahead and look at the crates. Now these, I'm gonna call this before I even run these numbers. I'm going to say the Queens is by far going to be the worst. Princes is going to be slightly better, and Jesters better yet. And I even have a belief, because what you're looking for out of these purses is the mysterious garden powder. If they only drop 1, and it's random on which, you know, the rate the crates put them out, it's going to be better for the lower cost crates, like the Nobles crates, which you can't farm once you get past, I think, level 50. But the Nobles crate, which are much cheaper to open, the labor to profit ratio is much, much higher. And so that's my prediction, because the labor cost is so high, and really all we care about is the mysterious garden powders. I'm going to say Queens is probably the worst crate, but let's take a look. Okay, so 4 trees, 4 more. There's 1 garden powder. So if it's only going to drop 1, I'm pretty safe. And these are 28 labor each. I mean, that's significant. Lots of trees. Lots of trees. Alright, so I had to edit this video because I kept saying 22 crates when actually we received 27 Queen's crates. So after opening them up, we had 14 Lunarite, 10 Magic Garden Powder, 83 trees, 37 braziers, and 3 glowing prisms. The value at my auction house is 284 gold, 28 labor each. That's with a 30% labor reduction due to skill level. 27 crates at 756 labor. Silver to labor ratio comes out to almost 38 silver per crate. Not horrible. And if you do the math on the drop rate of the Mysterious Garden Powder, 27, 10. It's about a 1 out of 3 will drop the garden powder, which is the best drop rate I've seen. But let's watch the rest of the video. Yeah, let's first look at the purses. I'm going to open about 5 of these. 30 silver, 28 silver, 27 silver, 30 silver, 22 silver. So I'm going to say about 28 silver, and they cost 7 labor points to open. That's going to give you about a 4 silver per labor point ratio on the Prince coin purses. My opinion, not worth opening. In fact, this is how confident I am of that. I'm just going to delete those. Okay, so now let's take a look at the crates. Went ahead and dumped the drops into my chest, so we can take a look at these 33 crates. So 2 braziers, 3 trees, more braziers, more braziers, garden powder, garden powder, garden powder, garden powder. Wow. I'd like to keep saying that. So this was 33 of the Prince crates, and that took me 1 hour to accumulate. There are 14 labor each to open, and I'm gonna bet that the math comes out that these are slightly better than the queens. That's my prediction. We'll see how this ends up. Slightly better, but not as good as the Jesters. That's my prediction, but we'll see how this ends up. 2 more to go. And 9 Mysterious Garden Powders. That's actually, you know, percentage-wise, the queens dropped a little bit more. Because we only had 22 and we got, what was it, 10 of them. So out of 33, we actually got less garden powders. Interesting. Let's run the numbers. Okay, so here are the numbers. Lunarite, we received 15. Magic Garden Powder, 9. Trees, 33. Braziers, 40. Glowing Prisms, 7. Here's your current auction house values. I'm actually using the same values I used on Jesters. The thing about it is the Magic Garden Powders fluctuate, at least on my server, anywhere from 16 to 20. So I feel safe in saying 18 gold each, you know, best case scenario. So after 1 hour of farming, estimate 232 gold, and the silver to labor, 14 labor to open, that was 462 labor. And as I predicted, the silver to labor ratio is higher, 50 silver, or almost, 50 silver versus the 46 silver per labor point. So, very, very good, you know, for your silver to labor ratio, but not very efficient at burning labor. It's going to take you, if you have 2,800 labor, if you're only burning, you know, 462 labor an hour, it's going to take you almost 6 hours to do a full labor dump to get rid of your labor for that day. Queen's purses are a little faster, but their ratio is a little worse. Now, let's look at the Jesters, and this was posted in my original video of stating how just awesome Jester purses are. And I want to update you guys because a couple things have happened. One, I was able to sell a lot of the armor and weapons, and I want to show you how that works. And the other thing is notice this was done in Windscour in peace, like the worst possible case. Your best case scenario is farming mobs in a war zone. I know a lot of the legacy servers don't have a very good rotation on war zones, but one thing that does happen is Carcassi Ridgelands always goes to war every single day. keep that in mind. I will tell you this, that I have actually doubled these drop rates in 1 hour in a war zone. Double. If you think loot pots don't matter, you're wrong. If you think war zones don't matter, you're absolutely wrong. That is a big deal. So now let's take a look at the weapon drops. Now, before I look at the Jester drops on the weapons, I want to just update from the previous video. I want to talk about these divine weapons and the Lost Garden weapons and the divine armor. This is 150 labor to identify, and that's the same for the weapons. And if you look on the auction house, Lost Garden, you're always going to get a green, but look at the values of it. 150 labor for 6 gold. It's not really worth it. 7 gold, and chances are these aren't even selling very well. Like, it's been days since anybody's even bought one of these. Not worth it. I will say that though, you can salvage these items, and you'll get between 1 and 3 crystals, and that's a sunlight crystal, which are about 5 gold each. So if you get lucky, you might get 15 gold for 150 labor, which is decent. But chances are you're only going to get 1 shard or maybe 2, and that brings the ratio down just to unacceptable levels. I don't think they're worth opening. Best case scenario is you get a unique one, and you know, those go for decent money, but the chances of that happening are so rare. Okay, so now I want to take a look at the weapons that you get from the Jesters. I had some questions about if they're worth opening and whatnot. They definitely are. They definitely are. And what I want to show is the spreadsheet that I had showing that, you know, they're about 20 silver, 20 silver per labor point, and I've actually been opening a fair amount of them and putting them on the auction house, and as you can see, they're selling. Oops, that one doesn't count. That was a rumbling tree, but so I've got 2 characters. I just put them on alts because of the auction house limit, and you get so many of them. But as you can see, you know, they are selling. My selling point for them is 3 gold for the greens, 5 gold for the blues, 7 gold for the purples, and you know, about 10 gold for the heroics, and then between 20 and 50 gold for the uniques, depending on the stats. If the stats are just horrible, like if you get a katana with like spirit and stamina, yes, it's a good offhand weapon, but no one knows that. They don't sell, so I just salvage them. But it is still worth opening, especially if you're just trying to get rid of your labor. This is a 1-day sale on this character, and I have another character that I'll show you with another day sale. Okay, so this is my second character. I just put these on the alts that are on the same account, just so I could get past the auction house restriction. You'll see that, you know, they're not super, you know, they're not worth a whole lot, but they're only taking 28 labor to open, and there's decent money in them, and people are buying them. I don't know who's buying them, but people are buying them. So that was 11 on that character, the first character, and 14 here. So that was 25 pieces of armor or weapons from the Jester Crates that sold. So, you know, we did an hour. We did an hour of Queens. We did an hour of Princes. And even just the hour of the Jesters in a peace zone, which is by far the worst time to do any mob farming, Jesters is still better. There's the numbers. I hope you learned something. You know, people say that Larceny is dead, and I think the biggest complaint is that people can't dump their labor as quickly as they used to, and that is true. But if you're willing to do it, you can make a lot of gold. If you have questions, if you have comments, if you want to see more of these type of videos, let me know. I'll be happy to provide them to you. Take care.